And hello again everybody. So we're into the second of our little videos, and today we're going to, at the very beginning, just reprise what we did in Feet First, our first of these little videos, and I'm going to give you just about 5 minutes to show you how to warm up your feet, and then we're going to move on to ankles and calf muscles. And of all of the joints in our bodies, I think our ankles are the most neglected and the most punished every day, because we spend so much of our time on our feet and we do not put our ankle joints to their full range of movement and the movement they're capable of in the way we lead our lives. So we're going to begin then. We're going to begin on the mat as we usually do in this sequence. And like I said to you before, one nice thing to have always, I mean, I've got a mat, I've got a yoga mat here, but you don't need one of those. You can just put something down on the floor like a rug or you know, even the carpet is fine, but you do need something to sit on. And I have a bolster, a yoga bolster, but you might use just a rolled up towel or a rolled up blanket or something like that. And then when I sit, like I'm sitting in this cross-leg position, but of course you don't need to sit in this position, but in one of the future videos we'll be working on our hips, and to facilitate hip opening, a nice gentle hip opening, this is a great way to sit. And just a reminder, if you're sitting on your bolster, you're not sitting up on top of it, you're letting your bottom slide down so that you're tilting your pelvis and you're maintaining that lovely curve in your lower back. So we're going to just this quick reprieve then on our feet. So what we did that first day in our feet first, so I slip off the bolster after sitting on it in the first place, and then you take one foot across the top of the other, you thread your fingers through, and then you hold on to just above your ankle and you rotate your ankle joint. And then rotate it in the opposite direction. And then you can use your right thumb to massage the sole of your foot, or use both thumbs actually, just to get some movement in there and get some blood flow in there. And then you put your foot on the floor and you're going to start using your fingers with your toes. So you're going to take your big toe and the one next to it and you're going to stretch them out, then you're going to pull them backwards and forwards and then pull them away from each other. And we work on each toe like that. And then just working through and down to the very last one. And then the very last thing I'm going to do is to stretch the ankle across the top, just above the knee. Remember, never on the knee joint. I'm going to thread my fingers through again. And I'm going to hold on to my heel, and I'm going to try and make movement in my foot. So I've anchored my heel and I'm just trying to move my toes. So like wringing out a cloth really. So I'm not moving the ankle joint at all in this one. Then I place my foot on the mat and I try to raise my big toe and keep the little ones on the mat. And then the big toe down and the little ones up. If it doesn't work for you, then fingers on your little toes and lift the big one up. So you get the neural pathways working again. And then press maybe your index finger on your big toe and lift the other ones up. And then you repeat it on the other side. Then you're going to slip over onto your knees. You're going to sit on your feet with the feet stretched out. And this is working on our feet, of course, but we're also working on our ankle joints when we're doing this. So you're stretching the front of your ankles, and this is called plantar flexion, and I'll be going over this again as we go through today's sequence. Then I'm going to put my fingertips to the mat, and I'm going to curl my toes under. Take your right hand back and spread out your toes, particularly the baby toe. And then up here might be enough for you, because you can see that deep stretch in the sole of your foot, and for some people that can be enough. If you want to take it a little further, gradually start to take your upper body weight onto your heels and gradually take it back. So you are supporting your soles of your feet, basically are supporting the weight of your upper body. If you want to take it a little further, and don't we always? So fingertips to the mat and then tilt over and maybe coming up onto your toes. If we want to include a little balance, and we're going to be working on balance today, bring your palms to heart center and you're just in a little toe stand. then fingers back down to the mat, heels back, sitting back and stretching out again. And that's just a quick run through of what we were doing in our sequence on our feet first. So coming back up, we're coming to standing now. So we want to work today on calf muscles and ankle joints. So if we look at the structure of our feet and our ankles, when we point our toes like that, this is plantar flexion, so you're stretching the front of your ankle. When you flex your toes back towards your shin, this is dorsiflexion. And it's really important that we maintain the ability to do that. So the ankles can do that, but they can do lots of other things as well. So we can rotate the ankle joint as we just did, but you can also come over on the side of your ankle, and this is where most injuries happen, when people trip and fall. And I've had that injury myself out on the mountains, and of course in plaster for 6 weeks after it. But your ankle can also do this, and we're going to work on each of those during the class today. So there are many, many ways of strengthening through the ankle joints and the calf muscles. So we really work on the ankle joints by energizing through the calf muscles. So we're going to be working with the gastrocnemius and soleus, the two major calf muscle joints. I have all kinds of props here with me today, and I want you to show you how to work on your calf muscles. And we're basically going to be doing calf raises, and we're going to do them with the knees straight and with the knees bent, one working on the gastrocnemius and the other working on the soleus muscles. I have here 2 blocks. You can use big thick books, or even better, the stairs, step on a stairs. I'm kind of simulating the steps on the stairs in this one. So I'm going to use the wall as balance. So you could just come up on your toes from, without having any support. But for me, it's always better if you use support, because it takes any kind of fear out of balancing and falling over, and you can work much deeper into the muscle doing that. So I'm going to show you 2 ways of doing it. One is to do it with the wall, and the other is doing it with the support. I have a chair here beside me today, so doing it with the support of a chair. So you're going to take the balls of your feet onto I'm going to take it a little bit further out from the wall. So you're going to take the balls of your feet onto the blocks, and then you're just going to drop your feet down, heels down. You're going to come up onto your toes and hold for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you can feel your calf muscles switch on straight away, and then you're going to drop down. You're going to lift up, and you're going to drop down. And you see the stretch is when you release, and then the work is when you come up. So this is the concentric movement, and this is the eccentric movement. So working on the calf muscles. If you want to take this a little step further, then I would suggest you come up on 2, hold, take 1 foot away and hold on 1, and then drop it down, and then come up on 2, hold there, and then drop it down. And this is the straight-legged version of that. And I can already feel my calf muscles at work. The next version of this is with the knees bent. So for most people, this is much easier. So a little bend in your knees. You're going to lift up, and you're going to drop down. You lift up, and you drop down. Then you can lift up with 2. Take 1 leg away and hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and drop down. And then lift up, take 1 foot away, and drop down. So always you can do the uplift quickly, but the lowering down much slower. So I'm going to show you how to do this on a chair. So turn the chair. Chairs are really useful. We can do all kinds of things with them. So to show you, you can just use the chair for balance. You can come up on your toes and drop down. You can see straight away that I'm missing one element of that. I'm missing the lowering down, and that's why a step is much, much easier for this than a chair. But a chair is useful as well, because you're going to get the work element of it. And then you can 1 foot away and hold up and drop down. And I'm used to doing these exercises, but for me, that's demanding. Even that little bit of work is demanding. So if that's the dorsi and plantar flexion part of the ankle movement, I want to show you the other ways as well that we need to strengthen our ankle joints. And this one is very simple. So you're going to lie your back against the wall. Oops, that's going to move away from me. So you do want to be careful where you place yourself. So I'm going to move the mat a little bit out of the way. I'm going to stretch my feet out, so you don't want anything that's going to run away on you and you're going to land on your bottom. And then I'm just going to lift my toes up. And this is dorsiflexion. And then I'm going to drop them down. I'm going to lift my toes up and drop down. Lift my toes up and drop down. And lift my toes up, and I'm going to hold them for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And then I'm going to drop them down. And now I want to get into what I've already said to you. I want to get into the outside of my ankle, and I want to get into the inside. So for this one, I'm going to lean up against the wall. I'm going to push my mat a little further away from me. I'm going to lean up against the wall. I have my right foot on the mat, or the floor. I'm going to take my left leg away, and I'm going to lift up the outside of my foot. I'm going to drop it down. I'm going to lift up and hold, and drop it down. If you want to make this more demanding, you just stretch that leg out a good deal more. So you make the lean more extreme, and lift up and drop it back. And then if I want to come back into something less demanding and I want to come out to the outside of my ankle, I just lift up and drop back, lift up and drop back. And those simple movements are ways of increasing the strength of your ankle joints in their extreme position. So if you fell and fell over onto the side of your ankle, if your ankle and your body is already used to being in that position, like I was there, then it's much more likely to be able to cope with a fall. So all of these movements are about the reduction of the risk of injury. You can never eliminate injury because you don't know how extreme a particular fall is going to be or the particular angle that you're going to fall on. But what we can do with these movements is make the ankles much stronger and much better able to resist the impact of a fall or an unusual position that you might put your body into. So one of the things that we're also doing with this little series of movements is we are working on the Achilles tendon. And the Achilles tendon is that big tendon that runs here from the gastrocnemius, the main calf muscle, runs down here. And you can feel the Achilles tendon right there. And that's constantly under pressure. So if you, say for instance, wear high heels, you're going to have short, tight Achilles tendons. If you don't have good, strong, healthy feet and you're not used to taking care of them, then you're going to put all of those intricate joints, muscles, ligaments and tendons around your feet and your ankles just under more pressure. And we want to do everything we can to resist that happening to our bodies. If we want to maybe do those exercises on the chair, it's another reason I have the chair with me today. So we can turn the chair around, and I'm going to do it sideways so you can see. And I also have a weight. But you could just as handy use a heavy book or anything, maybe a full 2-litre bottles of water or something like that. So when you sit on the chair, really simple. All I'm going to do is lift my heels up and drop them down and lift them up and drop them down and lift them up and drop them down. And if I want to make this a little more demanding, this is 5 kgs. I'm going to put the 5 kgs on my knees and lift up and drop down and lift up and maybe hold up and a nice slow release on the way down and lift up and drop down. And then I'm going to drop my weight back down onto the mat. I'm going to stretch both legs out and I'm going to rotate my ankle joints and then rotate them in the opposite direction. And even if you were to do this simple movement, you're trying to get into the full range of what the foot is capable of. And then one more time in the opposite direction. And I'm going to show you one more way of working on your ankle strength. So I'm just going to move my chair out of the way. So if you have got sore knees or you don't like to be on your knees, then I have 2 mats here, which is great. But I would put an extra cushion under my knee, the knee that's on the ground. In this case, I have my left knee down. And I'm just going to take my right leg forward. I'm just going to come out onto the outside of my ankle. Now that's a hip opener. We'll be using this exercise later on when we're looking at our hips, but it's also a strengthener for the outside of your ankle. So I might lean on that a little bit, and then I might come and take it in the opposite direction, and then over that way, and then back the other way. And then I might do the same on the other side. So if you want to put extra weight on this, I might lean my elbow onto my thigh, and I might just take my upper body weight into it, and I'd come over onto the outside of my foot, and maybe I can see like the whole sole of my foot here. So I'm right over on my ankle, and then I might take it in the opposite direction, and then one more time over, and one more time back, and then I might come back. I'm going to sit on my knees. So I think this is a really interesting way of working on your ankles. Just simple thing to do. So rather than sitting on a couch in the evenings, you might just slip down onto the floor and just sit back like this. So if I do it from the side, you can see, and we've done this before in the previous video, you're stretching the front of your ankles when you do this, and then you can slip back up, tuck your toes under, and you're doing the opposite. And even something as simple as that is really going to help with your ankles. Always when I come out of this, if I've been sitting like this for a while, I'm going to put my hands to the mat, and I'm going to take my feet up and just waggle my ankles. Then I'm going to tap the tops of my feet off the mat, and then tuck my toes under again. And then we're going to work on something that I'm going to be introducing later in this series when we're working on our hips, and that is a squat. And one of the ways of testing your ankle mobility, your dorsiflexion in particular, is to see, can you come down into a squat with your heels on the mat. So to come into a squat, you're going to take your feet, let's start up standing, okay? So you're standing and your feet are at about a 45 degree angle. And you're going to sit back down and you're going to keep your heels on the mat. If your heels are up, you are tight in your ankles. One really good way of testing it. This position, which is a position we would have spent a lot of time in when we were hunter-gatherers, and you can still see in some of the countries in the world, this is quite a normal position to be in. For most of us, this is difficult. But you can see what is happening in your body here. You're getting that lovely flexion through your feet. You're getting amazing hip opening. All of it really, really good for you. And a really good test of it as well is if you can push into your feet and lift yourself up. The very last thing we're going to do is balancing. So again, you might want to use the wall for this one. So I'm just going to put my fingers to the wall. I'm going to stand on my left foot, lift my right leg up, and then I'm going to take my hand away. And when you're doing this, then I'm going to, if you flop over, maybe not one of my better balance days, you can just readjust and come back. So you can feel all that activity going on in your standing leg. And then drop that down, and then come on to the right leg. Right leg for most people is usually better. And you can lift your other leg up. And this is amazingly good for your ankles. So your standing leg here is completely switched on. You're working on your balance, which for most people becomes challenging as we age, and is something you need to work on. Then drop your foot down. One of the great tests of just your whole overall physical health is to be able to stand on one leg with your eyes closed. And I'm going to give you a little hack or a little way of doing this or helping with this. So I want you to drop your head rapidly and then slowly lift it up. Take it to the side rapidly, slowly bring it back. Take it to the other side rapidly, slowly bring it back. Drop it down rapidly, lift it up. Now I want you to stand on one leg, lift the other one up, close your eyes and see how long you can hold it. Move over and do it on the other side. So even if you were to do this every day and hold for 5 or 10 seconds and then increase that, you're going to make really strong ankles, strong feet and strong balance. And that little sequence then, and I'll reprise that really, really quickly at the beginning of our next video, which is going to be on our hamstrings. And from the hamstrings then we're going to lead on to our glute muscles, our quad muscles, the front of your thighs, getting way ahead of myself there. The glutes will come after that, and then the core will come after that again. So this is all going to build up from the feet right up through. So we've just in the first video looked at our feet. This one is ankles and calf muscles and shins, because when we were doing this particular movement here, that was working on your shins. So if any of you are runners and you get shin splints, and any runner, most runners have had those at some stage, which is inflammation down the front of your shins. This is one of the great rehab movements for that. So at the beginning of the next video, I'll do a little reprise of this one. So by the time we're finished this a whole set of sequences, you'll have a little library of movement that you could complete, say, within maybe 25 minutes of warming up the whole body. And maybe if you did that a couple of times a week, you would certainly improve the way your body functions and works. So until next time, and I'd like you just to take a look. Autumn has come into the garden, hasn't it? It's beautiful out there at the moment. The October is really beautiful time of year coming into November. So until next time, we'll leave the ankles and calf muscles behind us, and we'll look forward to working on our hamstrings in the next video. And until then, goodbye for now.